Welcome everyone. In this lecture of particle physics, we will learn about parity conservation. In previous lectures of particle physics, so far we have discussed different types of conservation laws, and you will also be familiar with most of them. But there are some other conservation laws that we are not as familiar, such as parity conservation. This is one of the most important topic of particle physics. This topic is so important that since June 2018 to November 2020, questions have been asked continuously from this topic in CSIR NET and GATE exam. You might find this lecture complicated, but my suggestion is that go through this entire lecture and try to understand it. We have tried to make this lecture as simple as possible. However, some terms in this lecture may be completely new for you. Before parity conservation, let us understand parity. Parity is a mathematical operation which simply flips the sign of coordinate axis. We do study any phenomena in respect of a coordinate system. Like this is a coordinate system made up of x, y and z axes, also called right-handed coordinate. If the parity transformation is applied to this coordinate system, its axis gets inverted, such as the x-axis in minus x-axis, the y-axis in minus y-axis, and the z-axis in minus z-axis. This is called left-handed coordinate. By parity operation, the right-handed coordinate can be converted to left-handed coordinate. Parity transformation means mirror image. If you are standing in front of the mirror, your right hand will be the left hand in the mirror image and the left hand is the right hand. Let's understand this for a particle. If a particle is moving along the positive x-axis, then in its mirror image, it will move along the negative x-axis. This is the parity. By parity transformation, the particle moving toward the positive x-axis starts moving toward the negative x-axis. Or you can say that their sign changes. Parity transformation causes some physical quantities to invert their sign, such as displacement, momentum, acceleration, force. While some quantities are parity invariant, means there is no effect of parity transformation on them, like angular momentum. Angular momentum is the cross product of displacement and linear momentum. Since both displacement and linear momentum invert their sign in parity transformation, so there will be no effect of parity on angular momentum. Similarly, spin angular momentum is also parity invariant. How any physical quantity such as electric field, magnetic field, Maxwell equations behave under parity transformation, we will discuss it separately in our series of special lectures. In particle physics, we do not require parities of these quantities. Parity conservation means that the universe cannot distinguish a phenomenon from being in the right-handed or left-handed. That means these events take place in symmetry in respect of their mirror image. For example, if particle is moving toward the left side, then particle will move toward the right side in its mirror image, which is also possible in the real world. So if the mirror image of an event exists in the real world, then it is called parity symmetry, and this phenomena is called parity conservation. Now come to the subatomic level. Before understanding parity at subatomic level, we need to understand an important term, helicity. The helicity is the direction of spin of a particle with respect to its motion. If the spin and motion of the particle are in the same direction, then it is called right-handed helicity. But if the spin and motion of the particle are in the opposite direction, it is called left-handed helicity. Mathematically, if the particles having spin is in the direction of their motion, means right-handed, their helicity will be positive. But if the particles having spin in the opposite direction of their motion, means left-handed, their helicity will be negative. Let's understand this for an electron. Suppose the spin of the electron is in the same direction of its motion. That means the electron is of right-handed helicity. If we talk about the mirror image of this electron, then as we said earlier, in the parity transformation, the direction of the motion would be flipped, but not the direction of spin. That means in mirror image, the direction of spin and the motion of electron will be opposite, which represent left-handed helicity, and both left and right-handed electron exist in nature. Therefore, electron follows parity conservation because its mirror image exists in nature. This left and right-handed helicity is found in all subatomic particles. But there is a particle that does not follow this symmetry: neutrino. So far in the nature, all neutrinos have found of left-handed helicity and all antineutrinos of right-handed helicity. Till date, no neutrino of right-handed helicity or antineutrino of left-handed helicity has ever been observed. If you look at the mirror image of a neutrino, as we said earlier, the direction of motion of the neutrino will change, but not the direction of spin. In the mirror image, the direction of the spin of neutrino is in the direction of its motion. That means this is a neutrino of right-handed helicity. But no such neutrino does exist in the nature. Therefore, this mirror image of neutrino is not possible. The same will happen with the antineutrino. The mirror image of antineutrino of right-handed helicity will be of left-handed helicity, which does not exist in nature. This is called violation of parity conservation. This violation occurs in weak force interaction. The three fundamental forces, strong, electromagnetic, and gravitational forces, conserve parity, which means that these forces do not differentiate between right or left-handed events. But weak force does not do this. Parity conservation becomes violate in the weak force. Weak force separates the left and right-handed system of the particles separately. If neutrino is participating in a nuclear reaction, they will violate parity conservation. This violation occurs only in weak interactions. In November 2020, a question was asked: charged pions decays to muons and anti-muon neutrino. Take the rest masses of a muon and a pion to be 105 MeV and 140 MeV respectively. The probability that the measurement of the muon spin along the direction of the motion is positive is close to. The decay of the charged pion is taking place in the charged muon and antineutrino. Since this is a decay reaction, the pion can be in rest. If pion is in rest, its linear momentum will be 0, and pion is a meson particle of spin 0. But particles released from the decay will not be in the rest position. Rather, to maintain the linear momentum conserved, both these particles will release from the same momentum in opposite direction. As we know till date, all neutrinos of left-handed and all antineutrinos of right-handed helicity have been found. This means the helicity of anti-muon neutrino will also be right-handed. So, if the antineutrino is moving toward the left side, then the direction of spin will also be toward the left side, so that it remains right-handed. Now, to conserve the spin of the muon is also required to be in the direction of its motion, means opposite to antineutrino. That means muon's spin and momentum will both in the same direction. Therefore, if the spin of the muon is measured in the decay reaction, then the spin of muon will always be found in the direction of its momentum. Therefore, there is a 100% probability that the spin of muon is measured in the direction of its momentum. How to verify parity conservation for a nuclear reaction? Parity operation means taking a mirror image, but if the mirror image of the mirror image is taken, means the parity operates twice, then we should get the original state. That means the eigenvalue of the p square will be 1. So the eigenvalue of p, the parity operator, may be possible +1 or -1. The parity of a particle is +1 is called even parity. +1 parity means that if the particle's wave function is mirror reversed, then we will get the same wave function. But if the particle's wave function is mirror reversed, multiplying by -1 to get the same wave function, then it is called odd or -1 parity. The total parity of any particle is the multiple of its orbital and intrinsic parity. The orbital parity is given by -1 to the power L, where L is the orbital angular momentum. If the particle is in S state, the orbital angular momentum will be 0, and the orbital parity will be even. But if the particle is in P state, the orbital angular momentum will be 1, and the orbital parity will be odd. If orbital angular momentum is not defined in the question, the particle will be considered in its S state so that its orbital parity remains even. Intrinsic parity is the intrinsic property of all particles. According to convention, all half-integer spin fermions have the even intrinsic parity, and all mesons have odd intrinsic parity. Both boson and anti-bosons have the same parity, but the parity of fermion and antifermions are opposite. Bosons with the spin 0 having parity even are called scalar boson, but those having parity odd are called pseudoscalar boson. Bosons of spin 1 having odd parity are called vector boson, and those having even parity are called pseudo-vector. Apart from this, parity follows multiplicative rule. Parity is defined only for a system whose total momentum is 0. Due to this, parity and momentum operator are anti-commute. Since the photon never remain in rest, the parity of the photon is not assigned, but it is necessary to define intrinsic parity for photon. As we know from dipole transitions between atomic states, the parity change in electric dipole transition means odd parity, while parity does not change in magnetic dipole transition means even parity. So the parity of the photon depends entirely on the radiation field in electromagnetic radiation. But even if photon is present in a nuclear reaction, then by convention parity of photon is assigned -1. If a system has two particles A and B, then the total parity of the system is given by -1 to the power L PA PB, where L is their relative orbital momentum, while both PA and PB are the intrinsic parities of particles. This defines parity conservation. For parity conservation in any nuclear reaction, the total relative parity of the parent particles should be equal to the parities of daughter particles. For example, if the particle A decays to particles B and C, then the parity of particle A should be equal to the total parity of particles B and C. As you can see, the final state is a system of two particles. Therefore, the total parity of the final state will be given by -1 to the power L PB PC, where L is the relative orbital momentum of particle B and C. Similarly, if the interaction of two particles A and B produce two daughter particles C and D, then both initial and final state is the dual particle system. So for parity conservation, the total parity of the initial state should be equal to the total parity of the final state. The decay product lambda 0 and pi minus from Y is in a relative p state of angular momentum. What is the intrinsic parity of Y? A particle Y decay is taking place in lambda and pion. We want to know the intrinsic parity of particle Y. Since in the question there is no information about the orbital angular momentum of the particle Y, so assume it in its ground state. Therefore, the total parity of the particle Y will be equal to its intrinsic parity. Talk about the final state. The final state is a dual particle system having relative angular momentum is in p state, means orbital angular momentum is 1. Lambda is a fermion particle and the parity of all fermions particle is even, while pion is a meson particle and the parity of all mesons is odd. That means particle Y has an intrinsic even parity. In GATE 2019, a question was asked, low energy collision of pion with deuteron results in the production of two protons. The relative orbital angular momentum of the resulting two proton system for this reaction is. In this question, we want to know the relative orbital angular momentum of the final state. Here, the scattering between the pion and deuteron is S-wave scattering. S-wave scattering means that the relative orbital angular momentum between pion and deuteron is 0. According to parity conservation, the parity of initial state should be equal to the final state. Pion is a meson, so its parity will be odd, whereas the deuteron has even parity. Therefore, the total parity of the initial state will be -1. In the final state, the proton is a fermion particle having even parity, but we have no idea about the orbital parity of the final system. So the total parity of the final state will be minus 1 to the power L. To maintain parity conservation, it is necessary that the relative orbital angular momentum of the final state may only 1, 3, 5 now verify the angular momentum conservation for this reaction. Pion is a meson and all meson have spin 0, while the deuteron has spin 1. Since the orbital angular momentum is 0, the total angular momentum of the initial state will be 1. The proton has a spin half. In this case, both protons can be either aligned parallel or anti-parallel, so that their total spin may be 0 or 1. Since the proton is a fermion and the wave function of the fermions is antisymmetric. So, to keep the wave function antisymmetric, they must align anti-parallel. This would mean their total spin will be 0. So for the total angular momentum to be 1, the orbital angular momentum of the final state will be 1. A question was asked in June 2018. A deuteron D captures a charged pion in the L equals to 1 state and subsequent decays into a pair of neutrons via strong interaction. Given that the intrinsic parities particles of pion, deuteron and neutron are -1, +1 and +1 respectively, the spin wave function of the final neutrons is. According to the question, a deuteron captured charged pion and decayed in a pair of neutron. We want to know the spin wave function of the final system made up of two daughter neutrons. Since the interaction is due to strong nuclear force, the parity will remain conserved. So by parity conservation, the total parity of the initial state should be equal to the total parity of the final state. As mentioned in the question, deuteron is capturing the charged pion in L equals to 1 state, means relative orbital angular momentum is 1. The parity of deuteron is even and the parity of pion is odd. So the total parity of the initial state will be +1. Now we have no idea about the orbital parity of the final system, but the parity of neutron is given. So the total parity of the final state will be -1 to the power L. For parity conservation, the parity of the initial state will be equal to the parity of the final state. This can only happen if the orbital angular momentum of the final state is 0, 2, 4 or any even value. Like the last example, for orbital angular momentum, we need to verify the total angular momentum conservation of this reaction. The spin of the parent particle pion is 0, while the spin of the deuteron is 1. The total spin of the initial state will be 1. The relative orbital angular momentum of the initial state is 1 given. That means the total angular momentum of the initial state may be 0, 1 or 2. Talk of daughter particles, then the spin of the neutron is half. In this case, both neutrons can be either aligned parallel or anti-parallel, so that their total spin can be 0 or 1. Since neutron is fermion, so their wave function will be antisymmetric. To maintain the wave function antisymmetric, they will align anti-parallel. This would mean their total spin is 0. Since in the question only the wave function of the final state is asked and the total spin of the final state is 0, means it is a singlet state. In this question, we do not need to find out the orbital angular momentum of the final state. But for practice, by extending this question, you can verify the relative orbital angular momentum of the final state. You will have relative orbital angular momentum of the final state too. You can verify this yourself as in previous example. If there are more than two particles in the system, such as the decay of particle A is happening in the particles B, C and D, so the total parity of the final state is given in this way, where L is the relative orbital angular momentum of particle B and C, while L prime is the relative orbital momentum of D and of a system made up of B and C. Let us understand this with an example. The eta meson is decaying in 3 charged pions. According to parity conservation, the parity of the initial state should be equal to the parity of the final state. The final state has 3 particles. So at a time we will consider any 2 particle. Eta is a meson particle and all mesons are of odd parity. Similarly, pions are also meson and the parity of meson particle and antiparticle is the same. So their parity will be odd. Since there is no information about the relative orbital angular momentum of the particles, that means they can be assumed in its S state. So the total parity of the system made up of two pions will be even. Now considering the third pion, we get odd parity of the system made from three pions. That means this reaction is allowed by parity conservation. Note here, if the eta meson decays in two pions instead of three, then that decay would be violated by parity conservation. So if there are more than two particles in the system, then their total parity is calculated by making a system of two particles. After studying parity conservation, we can understand why deuteron is a mixture of S and D state. Why not of P state? In deuteron, bound state of a proton and a neutron produce total angular momentum 1, which is a mixture of S and D state. Both states have similar orbital parity plus 1. If the deuteron will have a contribution of P state, then because the orbital parity of the P state is odd, the parity conservation will be violated. The states of opposite parity will never mix together. Parity conservation can be a complicated topic. If you do not want to know in more detail, then you can skip this lecture here. But in December 2019, a question was asked. To understand this, we need to go deeper in this topic. Come back to helicity. Helicity is the orientation of the spin of a particle with respect to its momentum. Helicity is not an intrinsic property. Also, the problem comes when the particle is in rest. Because if the particle is in rest, then the right-handed or left-handed of the particle cannot be defined. In such a situation, a new property was required. This is called chirality. Chiral means not identical to its mirror image, like your left hand and right hand. Chirality is a property that distinguishes these two. Chirality is the intrinsic property of a particle, but not the helicity. Let us understand this with an example. Suppose there are two objects A and B. Both are moving in the same direction. Initially, particle A has higher velocity than the particle B. Therefore, according to particle B, particle A must be moving in the forward direction. But if the velocity of particle B increases to equal particle A, in this case, with respect of particle B, particle A will appear in rest because their relative velocity will be 0. Now if particle B velocity exceeds than A, in this case according to particle B, particle A will appear to moving in backward direction. That means the direction of the motion of particle A depends on the frame of reference of particle B. If we add the spin in this example, then initially according to particle B, the helicity of particle A is right-handed, because for particle A, the direction of motion and spin is the same. But in third case, the helicity of particle A is left-handed. That means the helicity of a particle depends on the frame of reference. But this only happens with particles having mass. Massless particles move with the speed of light. In such a situation, no matter fast how the frame is moving, it will never be able to cross the speed of light. This makes the helicity of massless particles frame independent. For massless particles, their chirality is equal to its helicity. If the massless particle is of left-handed helicity, its chirality will also be left-handed. And if the particle is of right-handed helicity, the chirality will also be right-handed. One important thing is that the chirality of massless antiparticles is opposite to its helicity. But this is not the case with particle having mass. Their helicity may be different from chirality. In December 2019, CSIR NET exam held in Assam and Meghalaya, a question was asked: the probability if the decay of pion into muon is much higher than that of electron because. In this question, leptonic decay of pion is given. We want to know why the probability of pion muonic decay is more probable than the electronic decay. This is because of option 4. The rest of the three options can be verified by yourself. We will only talk about the option 4. According to this, the muonic decay of the pion is more probable than the electronic decay because of helicity suppression. Since this is a decay reaction, pion can be in rest, as well as pion is a meson particle of a spin 0. In such a situation, it is necessary for linear momentum conservation that both daughter particles release in the opposite direction with the same momentum. As we know, in the nature all antineutrino found of right-handed helicity means their direction of spin is in the direction of their motion. So the direction of spin of both antineutrino will also be in the direction of their motion. Since the spin of the pion is 0, it requires for spin conservation that the spin of both electron and muon be in the opposite direction of the antineutrino. Means that both spin will also be in the direction of their motion, means the right-handed helicity. Now let's talk about chirality. As we said that chirality of massless antiparticles is opposite of helicity. Since antineutrino is a massless antiparticle, its chirality will be opposite to its helicity. In both reactions, the chirality of the antineutrino will be left-handed. Then where is the problem? The problem is with other daughter particle. Both daughter particles, electron and muon, are not massless, so their helicity can be in any direction. The chirality will not affect the helicity. As in muonic decay, the helicity of the muon may be right-handed, but for chirality conservation, it requires that the chirality of the muon be left-handed, and this can be possible. But the mass of electron is very less compared to mass of muon, about 200 times. Therefore, electron is considered massless in comparison of muon. And if the electron is massless, its helicity and chirality will be in the same direction. Since the chirality of the antineutrino is left-handed, the chirality of the electron must also be left-handed, so that the chirality remains conserved. Then the helicity of the massless electron will also be left-handed, and as soon as this happens, helicity will be violated for this reaction. Hence, muonic decay of pion is more probable than the electronic decay because muon is a massive particle while electron is almost massless. Now it's time for short notes. Parity means mirror image. Parity operation simply flips the coordinate axis. According to parity conservation, the universe cannot distinguish the left and right-handedness of any event. Helicity is the orientation of the spin of a particle with respect to its momentum. If the direction of the spin is in the direction of momentum, is called right-handed helicity, but if the direction of spin is opposite to its momentum, is called left-handed helicity. So far, all neutrino of left-handed helicity and all antineutrino of right-handed helicity have been found. Parity remains conserved in strong and electromagnetic interaction, but not in weak interaction. Eigenvalue of parity can be plus minus 1 and it follows multiplicative rule. The total parity of a particle is the multiple of its intrinsic and orbital parity. The orbital parity of any particle is given by minus 1 to the power L. When talking about intrinsic parity, the intrinsic parity of the fermions is even and the parity of meson is odd. The parity of bosons and antiboson is the same, while the parity of fermion and antifermion are opposite. The parity of photon is considered 1. If a system contains two particles, then the parity of the system is given by minus 1 to the power L, Pa, Pb, where L is their relative parity. Chirality is the intrinsic property of a particle. The helicity and the chirality of all massless particles are the same, while the chirality of massless antiparticle is opposite to its helicity. Here are some nuclear reactions for your practice. If you wish, you can download detailed PDF notes of this lecture. To download notes, either you can get our Patreon membership or via link given in the description below.